I'm Esteban from Miami Hypnotherapist. Today I'm going to talk about resentment and forgiveness. This is something I work a lot with my clients, and for me it's a vital part of getting better, of feeling better, of reaching a state of peace and serenity. To start, let me ask you, to think about a situation where somebody did you wrong, where you got hurt, okay? And let me ask you, by thinking about that situation or that person, how do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel it? Does it feel good? Does it feel okay? Or does it really feel icky and heavy? Most of the time, when we do that and when we think about our resentments, it really doesn't feel good. And I always describe it as a big backpack with spikes going into your back, and that's very heavy. And we put all these resentments in this backpack, and it's constantly jabbing at our backs. And that's pretty much how I describe it, is that it's not a positive feeling to have or hold a resentment. It's actually tiring and exhausting. Not only that, it's almost like you're putting people in jail and you're the jailer and you're holding them there. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to keep up thinking about all of that stuff, because it's a recurring thing. The problem with resentment is that what I usually have found is that people don't understand what it means for you and what it means for your body. Every time you think of resentment, every time you hold a grudge, you're actually lowering your vibrations, and all that is taken in by the body, and it doesn't feel good, okay? So I want to start by saying that forgiveness is no favor. We do it for ourselves. And the way forgiveness works is that it is important to have empathy, okay? To have a little bit of empathy towards the other person. Now, that doesn't mean that forgiving means that we can all be friends and we can start from scratch. No, it doesn't mean that. It means that, though, that you take the time to realize that you are doing a judgment. You are doing a judgment on them. And the reason for it is because of their behavior. But the problem is that we have a lot of information that we don't know. There's a lot of information that changes things. And this is what I work on a day-to-day basis with my clients. For example, I had a client that she was very resentful towards her father. And I gave her, an assignment. And the assignment that I said was, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and sit down with your father and ask them to tell you specifically how it was to grow up with their parents at their school. How was it? And don't sugarcoat. Really tell it like it is. The good and the bad and the ugly. And go ahead and talk. And her father said, listen, it was brutal. My dad would hit us, and I was the oldest one, and it was a lot of tremendous pressure. And I suffered a lot because of that. My dad was a perfectionist, and that would translate to a lot of pressure for him as a kid. And so my client comes back and we sit down, and she said, for the first time, I realized that nobody ever taught him healthy tools to live by. Healthy tools to live by and to be okay. For the first time, I saw that he was doing the best he could with what he had, which wasn't much. And that's the type of empathy that I am talking about. People are actually, believe it or not, people are actually doing the best they can with what they've got. And their resources sometimes are limited. Sometimes people don't understand the damage they cause until they realize it, and then they change their behaviors. So there has to be some element of compassion towards all these people instead of judgment, understanding that we don't know how it was to grow up as them. We don't know their hardships. We don't know how hard it was for them. And doesn't that conceptually can't you understand that somebody could be doing the best they can, which is might not be pretty, might not be good. That's what I mean by a little bit of empathy. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean that you are okay with their behaviors. What they did was wrong, and that's never going to change. But wouldn't it be nice to actually be able to take off that backpack and be free and be happy? Wouldn't that be nice? So that's what I offer with forgiveness. It's that you will feel much better about yourself. Somebody once said that holding a grudge is like taking your own poison and hoping the other will die. That's as crazy as it might get, but that's what we do when we hold grudges. They're fine. They don't really care. They might not even know that we hold these grudges. But we're the ones who are feeling terrible. We're the ones who are feeling miserable or angry or suffering. Holding grudges is suffering. Now, do you really want to suffer? Now, most of all, I want to point out that forgiveness, real forgiveness, starts with us. We are our worst critics. Are you willing to forgive yourself? Are you willing to accept that you're a human being? Are you willing to accept that you make mistakes? That you have a right to be wrong? That you're learning? That you can't be perfect? Think about it, because we are the worst critics, and that creates this suffering. I offer peace. I offer freedom. I offer you to feel light. So I hope you enjoyed this little chat, and drop me a message if you like, any questions, and if you'd like this talk, hit the like button. Bye.